Welcome to DSC's Campfires with Larry Weishuhn, a unique blend of hunting, fishing, wildlife conservation, and the outdoor lifestyle. DSC's Campfires is brought to you by DSC, Conservation, Education, and Advocacy. Hornady, accurate, deadly, dependable. Taurus, award-winning revolvers and pistols. Stealth Vision, high-tech, precision-driven equipment for today's modern hunter. Mossberg, American-built, American-strong. Vineyard Max, deer attractants created for the aroma of success, game feeders, and other hunting products. Red 55 Winery, signature wines from Emmy Award-winning country artist Miranda Lambert, owned by Rick and Beverly Lambert. And the Choctaw Hunting Lodge, home of some of the finest hunting in North America. Now, here's Larry.
Over the last several years, it's been my pleasure, actually about almost 19 years now, to be on the radio with Luke Clayton every Saturday morning on Luke's radio show, which is now a podcast as well, too. Luke is coming by the Cotton Ranch a little bit later this afternoon, but I tell you what, David and Edgar Cotton have been telling me about this legendary outdoorsman. He's supposed to be here in just a little bit, and oh my gosh, look, he's coming here right now. He's coming over to the campfire. He goes by Ole Root, so let's see what we can find out about this gentleman. Mr. Root, welcome to the campfire. I've been hearing so much about you here of late. Edgar and David Cotton have been telling me about this legendary outdoorsman that is involved in so many different things in the outdoors, everything from squirrel hunting, hog hunting, to trapping, to, hunting whitetail deer, turkey, ducks, geese, birds, whatever, and an outstanding fisherman. They've been telling me a little bit about you from here up in the Northeast Texas part, that you're an absolute legend up here. So I'm really anxious to visit with you today a little bit. Tell me, really, who is Ole Root? And is that your real name? Is Root your real name? Or is it Ole, like O-L-E, Ole Root? Or what do you go by, sir? Other than, all I know at this point is just Ole Root.
Wait just a minute. I don't want to put the horse behind the cart. Are you Mr. Whitetail?
Well, I've been called that a time or two in the past. J. Wayne Fears did that to me a bunch of years. So I guess, yes, sir, I'm guilty as spoken about.
All right, come out of the forest, out of the woods. I've been relaxing, Mr. Whitetail. Larry Weishuhn at the camp. I never in a million years thought I'd get to meet Mr. Whitetail. What was your question again?
Goodness.
What was that question? I'm trying to focus, okay?
I can kind of tell that. I mean, I can see in your eyes and by your voice. Who is Ole Root? I mean, where did you come? You are from Northeast Texas somewhere, aren't you?
To answer your question, the short answer, yes. Deep East Texas, Red River County. I was raised back in the day. Red River County, Dimple Community, north of Clarksville. Woods. It's the heavy woods. You've been there, Mr. Whitetail. You've hunted in my neck of the woods.
I have hunted that area. Yes, sir.
Where haven't you hunted? That's the question. But anyway, back to being focused. Red River County is where I'm. What was the question again? I'm having a little trouble focusing here. But Red River County is where I'm from. Now, what? Let me take it from there. What's next?
Where did you get the name Ole Root? And I'll repeat that one more time. I can see you're having a little trouble, but where did you get the name Ole Root?
I think David Cotton stuck that handle on me, and I said I accepted it. He asked me, is it okay if I call you Ole Root? I said, that's okay. You call me when you need me. I don't care. Call me whatever. So David Cotton put that handle of Ole Root on me, Mr. Whitetail. That's how it happened.
Well, I'll tell you what, I have nothing but respect and admiration for both the Cottons. So there must have been a real reason for them doing so. Now, I did hear stories some time ago that, I've been working with their management program now for the whitetail deer and the other wildlife for a few years. And one of the things we do every year is plant different types of food plots, out on the property. And I remember Edgar, particularly, I think it was, telling me about somebody that showed up out there, and initially they thought he was poaching, but then they realized what he was doing was digging up turnips and radishes that we'd planted there for the deer. Is that you?
It is. I don't mind admitting it. It was me. That's part of the story. That's part of it.
Part of the story.
I think that's what prompted David Cotton to come up with the handle of Ole Root. I think that was part of the story. Yes.
And tell me, I've got to ask. I can tell you are struggling just a little bit, and I could tell you were kind of teetering and tottering.
Okay.
Well, now I saw you kind of teeter and totter, and it kind of as you walked up to it. Now, I've heard, there's a lot of things you can do with turnips, like turnip greens, and then cooking them. I've even had them fried, like potatoes kind of thing. They were good, but I've also heard there years ago when I spent a lot of time up in Northeast Texas as a wildlife biologist that you could also make some liquor out of that if you did it just right. Do you know anything about that?
A little bit. Let me put a disclaimer. Okay. Can I put a disclaimer at this point? Interject a disclaimer. Can I interject?
I guess so. I don't see a reason not to.
Okay. Let it be known, this is a disclaimer. I want to tell you, you're a biologist. You know these things. Turnips has got a higher than normal sugar content. I've been told that when they are made into a mash and fermented, that they produce I'll call it what it is, white lightning. That's what I've been told. So that's all I really got to say. Now, I don't know, this is not information firsthand. Disclaimer again. I've been told that, Mr. Whitetail. I don't know for a fact, though.
Okay. Let me switch horses on you here a little bit. Now, one of the things that and we'll come back to that mash that you talking about. You got me kind of interested. I don't really have a whole lot of drinks, but I do on occasion have one around a campfire.
And I've heard.
Come back to that.
I've heard that. Go ahead.
The rumor is true. There's nothing wrong with having just a little bit of alcohol. It's the safest water there is. In times I travel the world, there are a lot of times you didn't know what you were going to drink because the water wasn't really safe. But if there was any kind of alcohol in it, it really kind of killed everything that was there. So, but we'll get back to that a little bit. Now, you do a fair amount of squirrel hunting, and I understand a lot of hog hunting. What did you grow up doing that? Or is it just something you came on? What got you into that kind of hunting?
Red River County. I'm from Red River County, the Northwoods. You know where I'm talking about. Pecan Bayou, yes, all that part of the world. I mean, that's what we did. That's it. I mean, you sat down to a meal of squirrel, fried squirrel and dumplings, squirrel stew. You would know this, Mr. Whitetail. I know you. There was no deer. I won't say there's no deer, but I'm talking about 1950 when I came along. There were very few deer, so we ate Yeah, squirrel was a big deal in those days. And then
Well,
let me
it
interject. Wait
was,
a
yes.
minute. Oh, well, there were squirrels. There were no deer. There were plenty of squirrels. But then along, my dad would raise hogs, and so hogs were a big deal in Red River
Yes.
County. We loved hog. We loved pork. So then about, I don't know, when was it, 80s? The hogs got really, really plentiful. So I like pork. I was more or less when I was little. That's what we had, pork, and chickens.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so then the hogs are in the woods. What would you expect out of me? I mean, they're everywhere. I mean,
Right.
I don't mean to be, I don't mean to be overbearing, but what else would I do? I hunted hogs. And to this day, I moved. When I located out of Red River County, I moved to a spot in Wild Hog Central. I can go a half a mile and shoot my pork. So, does that answer the question?
It really does. And you mentioned squirrel in terms of fried squirrel and stewed squirrel and squirrel and dumplings. I kind of grew up on the same thing. My granddad loved to hunt squirrels. We didn't have a whole lot of deer where I grew up, but the hog thing, my dad was in the hog business as well too. But I keep kind of thinking about this liquor that you're talking about. Obviously,
I do too. I think about it a lot.
Yes, sir. I can tell. I knew that from what David and Edward had been telling me that it was something you occasionally imbibed in. I didn't quite expect to quite that deep a well. I guess I should say at this point. But tell me more about that. I had an uncle Bob, that he made wine out of everything, and I remember him making wine out of just about all kinds of things. But it seems to me he had a special formula that he put together that did distill liquor out of turnips more so than anything else, particularly after that first frost when they kind of started sweetening up a little bit. Not that you do this, by all means. I don't mean to insinuate
disclaimer. Yes.
that you. I've heard the disclaimer, but can you tell me what others have told you? Is there a certain size of turnip that you're looking for? Is there a certain time to pick those things? And those kind of things. I think everybody around the campfire that's either listening to this podcast radio show that you're on, by the way, and so can you provide us with just a little bit more information about gathering turnips?
Mr. Whitetail, I say one thing. I regret deeply, seriously regret not knowing Uncle Bob, because I got a feeling Uncle Bob and myself would have been a team to draw, a pair to draw to. I do believe that. It's back to the biological part of turnips. I don't know a lot about them. I'm no biologist now, so I don't want you putting, too much emphasis on my knowledge of botany. Is that a way to put it? But I will say this: don't pick them when they're little. Let those rascals set in the ground till they're about the size of it, like cottons. They grow the best turnips in the world. Where we're at, right within a quarter of a mile, I haven't seen it this year. I guarantee you they got the best turnips. But let them get like about the size of maybe a softball. They got the sugar in them.
Yes, sir.
Like you said, you're not a botanist, but you're a biologist, so you know this stuff. But they get sugar, and there is there's your golden. That's what you're looking for is sugar, 'cause it does wonderful things when it ferments.
You know, I can tell it does. I'm wondering maybe if after somebody, you know, I can remember years ago people talking about drinking cheap wine, and it's kind of stayed with them a long time. I'm beginning to wonder maybe if this let's call it turnip juice.
Yeah,
If the
that's
turnip
good.
juice kind of does the same.
If Jack Daniels knew what I know, they would dominate the whole market. They would dominate the whole market. I've thought about it. Do you know anybody that in the marketing business? I think if we put this out right, it could go places.
You know what? I do know somebody that does do some wine. I don't know if you ever heard of a young lady named Miranda Lambert, but Rick Lambert happens to be a real good friend of mine and the Cottons and Luke Clayton's as well too. At this point, honestly, I wish Luke were here to listen to all this because
let's leave him out. Let's leave Luke Clayton. Disclaimer. Let's leave Luke Clayton out of this thing.
Okay.
I don't want to involve him. I don't want him involved. Okay.
I understand. I retract that statement. But maybe we could get Mr. Rick Lambert. He produces a wine called Red 55 wine that Miranda endorses, and he and Rick and his wife Miss Bev they market. So I got a feeling that Rick probably has a pretty good idea how to market those kind of things. Maybe we can get him. Let's see if we can. I'll tell you what. Let's do. It's getting close to time to get on the deer stand, and I think maybe you and I ought to hunt together this afternoon. The Cottons have got a great stand. That way we can spend a little more time together, and I can kind of keep control of that gun if something comes out. But I think we need to reconvene this here. Let me see if I can later this evening call Rick Lambert, and we'll get David and Edgar and you and I together, and let's talk about this a little bit more. I think there's something to be said. Obviously, I know there's one great fan in Northeast Texas about what we're talking about. And I think you might know who I'm talking about, but how about we do that? Are you game for that?
It sounds good to me. Real quick, I want to touch on the hunting. I've been relaxing today. I've had the day off, so I want to get in the stand. My job is to look for deer. Your job is to handle the rifle, do the shooting. When we get out, I hope you can make a good shot. You're Mr. Whitetail. You go make the shot. I'm not worried about that. I would like you to do it early. I want to bring a bag, and I will pick us. I need a new supply of purple tops turnips. Okay.
I think that absolutely sounds like a absolutely great fan. So I'll tell you what, we're going to cut this interview off right here, Ole Root, and you and I are going to go deer hunting, and David and Edgar are going another direction, and maybe we can reconvene all this here in a week or two, and as we talked about, I think you're on to something. I really think this turnip juice thing has got great potential in more ways than one. So you gonna promise me you'll be back when we get that thing put together and start putting it together?
Coming for you, it means the world. I'll be here. I feel like I'm trying to get focused again. I think it's a wonderful idea, Mr. Whitetail.
Tell you what, it is a done deal. Ladies and gentlemen, join us back here around the campfire. Then I'll get Mr. Root back here, or Ole Root, whichever he prefers, and I think we're on to something, and we'll keep you folks surprised with it right here on on the radio show, but also on the podcast. And look forward to seeing everybody else around here around the campfire next week. Mr. Root, do you by chance happen to have just a little bit of extra of that, maybe put in a mason jar or something that I can take home with me to show people?
Not with me, but I know where is a certain stump marked in the woods. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that.
I think we have another plan. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you right back here next week.
DSC's Campfires with Larry Weishuhn has also been brought to you by The Crown Bar in LaGrange, Texas, the Texas Wildlife Association, Double Nickel Taxidermy, and Burnham Brothers Game Calls.